Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, welcome back to Stormgate Central. So in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the lore and history of Stormgate. Frostgiant recently uploaded a 5-part story detailing the events that precede the opening of the first Stormgate and the unleashing of the infernal host upon the planet. It's actually a really good read if you're into lore, so I thoroughly recommend taking a look at that. But what I want to focus on here are some of the new pieces of evidence that really give us some extra clues as to who the third faction are going to be, as well as some of the main characters that will almost certainly be playing as in the campaign, and most likely the 3-player co-op mode as well. Guys, if you do enjoy the content on the channel, hit up that subscribe button because there'll be plenty more Stormgate content to come here in the future. Okay, so I won't read the entire lore series because it is fairly lengthy, and it goes without saying that if you want to read it for yourself, spoiler free, then I'd recommend doing that first and then watching this video, so, you know, you've been warned. So the story of Stormgate revolves around a scientist called Clive Cullen, who is contacted by a millionaire entrepreneur who's found some sort of alien relic, and ever since, he's been hearing a mysterious voice in his head referred to only as the Whisperer. And so he tasks Clive with seeking out more artifacts from a bygone era that are surely buried all over the world, and this mysterious Whisperer starts talking to Clive and guiding him on his journey. Now, when they manage to map out the locations of some of these artifacts by amplifying the sonic frequency of the original artifact that they found, they describe it as sounding like the voice of some distant angel. And then here's a little paragraph from one of the stories here. A blinking light appeared on the digital map, then another and another. Resonating frequencies, matching signals, artifacts in quantum flux all across the planet. Joined together, these hidden sounds coalesced into an angelic choir. So this really feels like they went out of their way to insert a good few angel references here. Now, if you think back to the announcement cinematic trailer, we see a scientist raiding temples and discovering long-forgotten relics that certainly look like they belong to this angelic third race, and we'll come back to who this character is and the role she plays later on in the video. And then, of course, we have the third faction pin, which is a reward for one of the Kickstarter pledges, which certainly looks like some floating or flying figure that could definitely be angelic in nature. Now, recently Frostgiant told us that they would be completely reworking the creep camp system in the next beta test, and that the third faction would have some kind of a unique interaction with those creep camps. Then, just the other day, we learnt that the final beta test before early access releases this summer, which is codenamed Griffin, will actually have the third faction available for testing. So now it all makes sense all of a sudden. That's why they want to revamp the creep camps, because they're adding the third faction in at the same time, who will have these special interactions. So I suppose that begs the question, what kind of beings will these new creep camps be? Now, they could be descendants of this angelic race, or they could be humans, and this angelic faction are using their psychological powers, like we saw them use on Clive Cullen the scientist, to perhaps ensnare their minds and mind control them. Then again, another way to interpret the lore is that this mysterious Whisperer isn't a being from the third faction, but a being from the Infernals. Now, ultimately, Clive Cullen ends up finding an artifact different to the rest of them, most likely an infernal artifact left behind after an age-old war between them and this third faction, and he uses this artifact to open the Stormgate and unleashes the infernal host upon the world once again. And this is what we see happening in the Game Awards trailer. Here we can see Clive in the lab coat, and the guy in green here who is trying to stop him is both a soldier and one of Clive's best friends, a guy called Julian, who goes by the codename Hawk, and he was also part of the security detail for Clive whilst opening the Stormgate alongside Major Barclay, aka Blockade. So this Hawk character is almost certainly going to be a campaign character and likely a co-op hero as well. Now, if we go back to the announcement trailer once again, we see a woman in her 20s or 30s perhaps, who is only referred to as Doc, so she's clearly a scientist of some kind. Now, Julian, aka Hawk, who was assisting Clive Cullen in opening the Stormgate, he also had his wife working on the project, another scientist named Lilla, and the two of them live there on site alongside their daughter, Amara. Now Lilla, clearly seeing that Clive was being manipulated by this mysterious whisperer and guessing that he was going to do something catastrophic, she managed to put a stop to his first attempt at opening the Stormgate, but she seemingly died while doing so. Now at that time, her daughter Amara was around 10 years old, so I think this scientist in the trailer is Amara. This is their daughter here, and she's picking up where her mother left off. It's obviously been a while since the Stormgate was opened, because we see this large infernal demon, likely one of the unannounced tier 3 units, come around the corner as if half expected. So, you know, if I had to guess, Amara is out there gathering artifacts with her father to enlist the help of this third angelic faction and send the Infernals back from whence they came. So definitely interesting stuff there, food for thought. You know, if you read the web series for yourself, let me know how you interpreted it, and if you have any additional thoughts of your own. And if you missed this video detailing Frost Giant's financial plans going into the future and how they plan to support Stormgate, go and give that one a watch. But otherwise, take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.